I'm Marcus Hale, 34, 8 years into a career at Sterling Dynamics, a Denver tech consulting shop that runs on buzzwords, coffee, and other people's weekends. I started as a junior analyst fetching cappuccinos and clawed my way to mid-level manager, the rank where you're trusted with disasters but not decisions. My wife, Sophie, worked there too, accounting. She could make numbers sit, roll over, and fetch. We joked that we practically lived at the office. It stopped being a joke when our dinners turned into cold takeout over quarterly reports and our date nights became two laptops on one couch. Still, I had a dream. Run a branch, build a team, get the corner office. And slowly, it looked possible. I handled the thorny clients, brought projects in under budget, and earned a reputation for fixing messes. Whispers started. Richard Alden, the CEO, was going to make it right for me soon. Sophie seemed oddly cagey about the rumors. She'd shut her laptop when I walked in, started staying late to balance end-of-quarter items, and bought a couple of new outfits she called early birthday gifts to myself. I chalked it up to stress. Hindsight says I'm an idiot. The party. The night everything detonated, we were in the Grand Hotel ballroom celebrating our biggest deal of the year. Chandeliers, jazz, champagne like a river. Richard does this statesman thing, talks about legacy and excellence, and somehow makes you forget he'll fire you if you miss Q3 targets. I kept glancing at Sophie by the finance table. Tight smile. Eyes that didn't want to meet mine. Paula from HR whispered, "Something to her?" Sophie's face did a quick loop through surprise and panic, then snapped back to polite. Dinner arrived. I was cutting into overcomplicated salmon when the room's temperature seemed to drop. Richard himself pulled up a chair at my table, something he never does unless it's promotion or execution. "Marcus," he said, voice carrying like a microphone wasn't necessary. "Tell me, the $200,000 bonus check I gave you, what did you do with it?" Time froze. My fork clanged on porcelain. Conversations died in a 30-foot radius. 200,000? I croaked. "What do you mean? I've never seen a room pivot that fast." Heads turned, glasses paused mid-air. Across the room, Sophie went paper white. Her wine glass shook like it was having a seizure. She jumped in first, too fast. "Maybe the transfer got delayed," she said, Andy, octave too high. "Or Marcus didn't see it. He's been so busy with the Morrison account, payroll gets backed up." Richard didn't look at her. "I want Marcus to answer." My chest felt wrapped in wire. The biggest bonus I'd ever seen from this company was $5,000 at Christmas. 200,000 would have been life-changing. Mortgage money, start a business money. I would remember that. "Richard," I managed, "this must be a mistake." His smile didn't move, but his eyes got clinical. "No mistake. Funds were transferred 2 months ago into your joint household account. HR confirmed the deposit, so where is it?" The phrase joint household account turned a key I didn't know was there. 2 months ago, right when Sophie insisted on streamlining our bills and managing our investments herself, I turned to my wife. "Did you take it?" The ballroom became a cathedral. Even the band stopped. Sophie stared at the table, lips pressed white. When she finally spoke, it came as a whisper. "I thought it was mine to manage. I was going to fix it." "Not ours, mine." The ground tilted. Richard nodded to Paula. She opened a manila folder like a prosecutor. "Deposit July 15th, $200,000 into Marcus and Sophie Hale, joint checking. Over 6 weeks, withdrawals and charges for designer handbags, Tiffany jewelry, first-class flights to Milan, 5-star accommodations." The whispers turned into a swarm. Milan. While I ate PB&J at my desk and drove a Honda with 180,000 miles, my wife was living a fashion blogger montage on my bonus. Richard's voice cut through it. "Sophie, you used your position to conceal transactions. You abused company access. He took out his phone and called the police like he was scheduling a haircut. Yes, Grand Hotel Ballroom. We have a $200,000 theft. Sophie grabbed my arm. Marcus, please, don't let them take me. I'll put it back. We can fix this. You can't fix grand theft with a sorry and a spreadsheet. 30 minutes later, they walked her out in cuffs. The hangover the next day wasn't alcohol. It was reality rearranged. Aftermath. Our house became a museum of lies. The gifts from her sister still had Prada receipts. The family jewelry came with Tiffany cleaning cloths dated last month. The girls' trip with Miles was first class to Milan, paid in full. Under questioning, Sophie explained everything with accountant detail, smaller withdrawals to avoid flags, internal adjustments to hide timing, a plan to replace it later. With what, she didn't know. Wishful thinking and a raise I expected. 3 days after the arrest, I was summoned to Richard's office, expecting a pink slip. Instead, he surprised me. You're not responsible for her choices, he said. I'm impressed by how you've carried yourself. Carried myself. I'd wept on my steering wheel and lived on black coffee and rage. I'll protect your career. But she's finished in this industry, he said, and this will be public. He wasn't wrong. Corporate gossip moves faster than fiber internet. Within a week, the accountant who stole her husband's bonus was HR folklore across Denver. The divorce papers arrived like overnight shipping. Sophie didn't fight. What could she argue? She kept her debt and her legal mess. I kept the rest and avoid where my marriage had been. Her LinkedIn vanished. Instagram went dark. Rumor had it she was working at a chain restaurant and meeting with a restitution officer monthly. From balancing six-figure budgets to asking if you want fries, I wish I could say I felt vindicated. Mostly I felt empty. The twist. 3 months later, Richard called me back in. I braced for the other shoe. Instead, he offered the job I'd chased for 8 years, regional manager. Corner office, a team, real decisions. A salary that didn't require packing leftovers to make the mortgage. You proved your character under pressure, he said. That's leadership. The irony wasn't lost on me. My life exploded. And that cleared the runway. People I'd admired started treating me like I'd walked through a fire and come out tempered instead of charred. New hires heard the story in hushed tones. The guy whose wife stole his bonus at the party, and he still showed up and led. Truth? I barely crawled through those months. But if survival counts as grace, then sure, call it growth. Sophie kept crawling through the legal system. Restitution means your past follows you like an ankle weight. We never spoke. What would we say? Sorry I stole your future to fund a European shopping spree. Thanks for torpedoing 8 years of trust in one evening. There isn't a Hallmark card for that. What I learned, betrayal doesn't just break your heart. It breaks your operating system. It rewrites assumptions about trust, about the people. You think you know about how blind ambition can make you miss alarms blaring at full volume. I'd ignored the late nights, the sudden, I'll handle the money, the designer bags with fuzzy backstories. Because believing the best is easier than asking hard questions. Now I ask them. I added 2-factor authentication to my bank accounts and my life. Separate accounts, transparent budgets, boundaries at work and at home. I leave the office before the building forgets my name. I see friends again. I sleep, and I look out of my window at the Rockies, and remember, Sophie stole money, detonated our marriage, and nearly took my career down with her. But she didn't steal my future. That's mine to build, with my eyes open. TLDR for men. The Reddit crowd. I worked 8 years at a consulting firm. Wife Sophie was the company accountant. At a company party, the CEO asked loudly what I did with the $200,000 bonus he'd deposited 2 months earlier. I had no idea it existed. HR produced records. The money hit our joint account. Sophie drained it on designer goods and a first-class Milan trip, using her access to hide the timing. She confessed. Police cuffed her at the ballroom. Divorce followed. She's doing restitution. Career over. I kept my job, then got promoted. I rebuilt my life with better boundaries and stricter finances. Lesson: trust is priceless and requires verification. Ambition isn't worth your blind spots.